This will be your first part one class, I will say, that I'm recording for organizational leadership. So before we get down to the details, nitty-gritty, how the leadership in data analytics works, I want to uh, demonstrate you or tell you about a very simple business, right? So from there, we will go one step more ahead towards more complex business steps. So the first thing I would like to discuss a business, which is a coffee cart business. Everybody, we are in North America. Coffee is our very favorite beverage in the morning, and it's a very simple business if you think about. So what happened? Somebody in a cart, coffee they sell, and those who are passing by, they buy the coffee. That's the simple business. So to sell the coffee, that guy who is selling the coffee, he needs a coffee cart, coffee beans, water, a machine that makes coffee, sugar, milk, or any other dairy product needed, right? So this is a very simple model. You make the coffee, you sell the coffee in a coffee cup, somebody comes and pay you, right? So there's a twofold things here. One is revenue. Revenue is basically who is your customer, right? Somebody comes, buy, so basically you generate revenue out of it, and you generate revenue out of a single coffee cup, right? It could be having somebody buying a two coffee cup, that's fine, but your unit is a one single coffee cup. The second part of it is your cost, basically. So the cost is basically the expense, where it could be a fixed cost and could be a variable cost, right? So the fixed cost could be happen like where you are setting up your coffee cart, the rent of the coffee cart, or the location of the coffee where you're selling that. Then buying the milk, if the milk price is not changing in a day-to-day basis, but still, if it is a quarterly basis, it's changing. Even if you're changing your coffee beans, coffee stuff like that. But one-time investment could be happen your the coffee machine you are buying, right? Then the variable cost can have like how many people are helping you, right? So anyway, that's basically the cost or expenses are there and your revenue right there. So now when you subtract from your expenses, from your basically from the revenue to the expenses, what you get is basically the profit. If your revenue is more than expenses, so you're in a positive side of the profit. But if it is not, so that means you did not make any money out of the business. So it's a very simple business out of that thing. Now, this is a simple single business and very fundamental of the business, right? So what happened is, suppose you want to know that which time of the day or which time of the week you are selling more of the coffee, right? Then if you have a multiple coffee beans, so suppose like Colombian coffee beans, maybe Jamaican coffee beans or African coffee beans, so which one will be you will be selling more with the different time period, right? Then another thing is if you have a multiple coffee cart, suppose like you are owning a 10 coffee cart in Toronto, right? 3 of them in Scarborough, 3 of them in North York, 3 of them in downtown Toronto, or 1 of them in Etobicoke, right? So that's also the space complexity income there, right? So how do you know that, right? So you need to have analyze your expenses, your profits, your revenue, and all this thing is basically now it's becoming your data, right? And when you are analyzing, we call it as a data analytics, but it's a simple business model. Then next, go to the um, second thing about the business. One is a solo or proprietorship, or which is basically a shop owner. It could be a convenience store owner near your neighborhood, and there is an entrepreneur. So what is the difference between that? There are differences of what I listed here, but main thing is basically if you are just a convenience store owner by yourself, you're managing everything by yourself, where you are giving a very good customer service only your locality. where actually you have a very a low risk, and you know every day who is coming, what the needs, type of demands you have in your head. That is basically one shop owner, the business model, or very simple business model. But as I was mentioning before, that if you become an owner, like you have a 10 coffee shop, right? Then you become an entrepreneur. Might happen you are not just selling right now the coffee. You are selling coffee with a bagel or coffee with the donuts or 10 minutes. So that time, what happened is you are increasing your product in business. It's called SKUs, and what you are looking at a variety of the product with the combination in a variety of the location and variety of the time period. It could be again, I saying, maybe in the morning your bagel sells more than muffin. Muffin and donut might sells more in the evening or afternoon with the snacks. I don't know. But how do you know that? For that, you need the analysis. You have to have analyze your data. So one thing, if people can say like, oh, I don't want to do my analysis, I can just run my business as it is. Yes, you can do that. But in 21st century, where AI ML is available and things is moving so fast to the automation, so it's basically the digital era. If you are not looking at a pace how the world is moving, one thing is will be happening that your profit margin might get lower or it can get same, but it will not go up if you are not doing a proper analytical view of your business. So that's how the analytics piece comes with the business or entrepreneurship over there. But when you think about from a small single coffee cart to a business like a Starbucks or Tim Horton, what do you think? They are selling the same thing. They are selling the same coffee. But what they are selling now, they are selling their brand. Now, actually, both of the companies, although they are selling a coffee with a donut or bagel or some sandwiches, some pizza now, Tim Horton has a pizza now. So what they do is now they are like international brand. They have a brand name. But think about when they started. They started as like a big brand like now. No, they might have started from the beginning is a small shop, but then they expanded as like entrepreneur expand. And how they did it or how they are doing it. So if you go to the Tim Hortons now, you will see that every year they changes their wrap, their sandwiches, even sometimes Starbucks also introduce a new drinks and change with that. So why they do that? So everything they are doing is actually a data driven. It might happen what they are selling in Japan versus what they're selling in India and what they're selling in North America is totally different because every locations comes with a different priority. But how do you know that? From from the research you have to know. And the research, how they comes with that thing, it's a quantitative or qualitative research. Then it's also the count of the data. So now, either you're a shop owner or entrepreneur, doesn't matter. You have to have a data in your side to move on with the uh, new age of digital era. Now, if we are talking of the very basic things, so if I am a startup owner, I'm just starting my journey, right? And I want to build a business. So what are the key steps I look into that, right? So one is first is the idea and research. So basically, what kind of things I want to build it, and when I'm building it, I have to do a lot of research, the market research, the other research, the product research, the location research, everything there. Then planning and strategy. So how we can execute that. Then funding, obviously, to do something we need a funding. Product development, launch, growth, and scaling. I'll come these one more detail in the next couple of slides. Sustainability and innovation. So idea and research, right? So as I was mentioning that you have to identify the problem you want to try to solve. So every business runs or all the startups they are building, they look for a key concept that they're trying to solve, or people never solve it. So that's why people will buy or use your services, basically, right? Just talking about the coffee, if you're selling a chai, the tea, only tea, somewhere in northern Canada where there might not be available the chai or tea, what there people start buying there. The reason is they are used to the tea, sorry, the coffee, but now they are getting in another drink. Just a hypothetical situation, okay? Then go to the conduct market research, competitor analysis. Obviously, you have to know how the market works, what are the competition in the market there, validate the business idea. So when you are looking for the idea of a business, you have to know that this thing is scalable or not. This thing is actually valid where you are looking at and not. So these are the things are there. But for each of the research, what you are doing, an idea you are generating, you have to have it come up with the matrix, and the matrix actually related to the data. Next thing is planning and strategy. So you have to find out the actual goal of the business and vision. So what you're looking at next 5 years, or maybe shorter, like next 1 year, 3 year, 5 years goal. And even like you can go shorter, like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days goal kind of thing. Then you build a business model and financial model. So suppose that you're setting up a model, next 30 days might have you'll be setting up the shop, or you'll be looking for logistics for the for your coffee cart model, right? And finance too. So you'll be looking at how much money you have. You might go to the bank. If the bank doesn't loan, you might go to the venture capitalist, which is the private equity loan shark, who gives you the loans there, right? And choose the right legal structure. So basically, how you want to put it, your business, you will be a solo proprietorship, or you will have some equity partner, or you'll be a co-founder, like that. So everything comes with your research and the data. Next thing is the growth and scaling. So obviously, when you are setting up some shop, you will have looking for that. What will be your the customer base? So who will be your customer? What age of the customer will become, and what time of the period will become. So like normally go to the Tim Hortons at the morning when I see that most of the school kids comes there at the morning, and in the Tim Hortons, and also the lunchtime there. So I know like my customer base on that particular time is the student, right? Then the optimize the process and improve the efficiency. So basically I see that morning are in between 7:30 to like 9, it has a rush hour, right? So in that moment, if I put more people there to serve, I know like people will be serving, getting things get much faster, instead of like after 6:30 in the evening, right? Explore the new markets and revenue streams. So when we are looking at the growth and scale, so we have to see that, okay, if I want to move from one owner to a multiple ownership, so I have to look for a different location where I can market my product and it can generate the revenue. Then there comes the sustainability and innovation. Obviously, you have to build a model that that is sustainable. That's not just like you launch today and within a month or 2 months it got bankrupt, right? Or you can run the model. So you have to be adaptable to that level, that you know that the shop you are setting up, it has a longer run time period on your side, right? Sorry. So the next thing is the startups. So startups are so now coming back from these different goal of a organization or business. Now think about, you are a one coffee shop owner versus now you become an entrepreneur. So which is basically you have a 10 coffee shop in the city, but now you're an entrepreneur, so basically you are a startup owner, but now you are not publicly traded company. So what are the difference between that? So when we are talking about the startups, so you do most of the stuff by yourself, or you find a co-founder there, and you build your company out of it from a bootstrap, and then you get some angel investor, nowadays it's called, and so basically a private investor or VC, venture capitalist. So basically you have an incubation there. They give you space, they give you some people to work with your idea, and then when your idea grown up, they will take certain percentage of your the business, which is called equity, or sometimes they give you a loan based on your their profit sharing model, right? Then it comes when at a time when you build your company enough um, enough enough standard that you have a long-term goal, you have a sustainable business, you have a scalability. Now you think that that your private investor might not enough for your company, so you want to go to the public. So what you do is basically you enlist your company to the stock exchange. To do the enlistment, you have to have all these uh, uh, basically all these your company plan, your company growth plan, sustainability, everything you have to be disclosed there, right? Obviously, that will be taken care by your legal team. But when you are going for the publicly traded companies, then you have to bring a board of directors in top of it, right? So you can be a CEO. That is what we are looking at here. You might be a CEO, but on top of you, there might be somebody here sitting as a board of directors, um, and then you have uh, board of directors, and then you'll have all the departments, which will be a CTO, could be part of the IT, COO is a chief commercial officer, CMO, chief marketing officer, CFO, chief financial officer, and each of these businesses will be also divided into a director, senior director, and manager and analyst there. Whenever things goes in this direction, it goes more in detail. But when it comes out this direction, it comes as a more course. So what does it I'm talking about is, suppose as a CEO, I want to see what is my revenue, what is my profit, what is my expenses. But that might not be true when a manager is looking for that particularly a marketing area or sales area. They might want to look at that how much expenses I am spending for a particularly marketing channel. It could be an email campaign, it could be a message campaign, it could be a cold campaign, and how much revenue I am getting from there, right? So this is the more detailed it goes when you're in the bottom in the these organizational chart. But when it goes up, the KPI go more accumulated, right? So today I will stop here, or in this lecture. Just quick recap, what we learned from this lecture is what is the fundamental simple business is, what is the startup versus enlisted company is. So if you having a startup, and what is what happened that if you are going for publicly traded company. So basically, from a coffee shop owner to an entrepreneur to might be a blue chip company one day. Then we talk about the organizational structure. If you have a blue chip company, you will have a board of directors, you have a CEO, chief executive officer, and under the CEOs, all the other C-suites will be there, which normally it's called ELT, executive leadership team, and under them, the other organization structural people will be there. And in the next lecture, we'll start talking about how the key performance index for the business works and how we monitor using the data. Thank you for this time.